Hot Button.
Maybe a few times a week I think about what it must have been like in the THQ Nordic meeting when somebody pitched the remastered edition name
of Red Faction. Red Faction Gorilla.
I assume it went something like the meeting where they pitched the Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition.
Or the Evolve...
Do you think it's like a freelance...
PC Monster Race?
PC Monster Race Edition?
Yeah, because,
Do you think there's like some industry marketing... There's some industry marketing like outlaw for hire that does these things? Like, oh, we need to bring in the Don Quick Name or something. Who just comes in... Oh, Destiny, I can't... Wow, why did I think that I could come up with a name on the fly? First of all, I was about to try as if I could come up with something that quick.
It's actually funny you bring this up because literally last night, a couple of us were watching a video and kind of like reading through articles about the worst game names of all time. And there's a lot of stuff on there that you would expect, like the Kingdom Hearts games and shit like that. But there were some others that I'm trying to remember. Also, do you
Infinite Undiscovery?
Yeah, is it just because Undiscovery is not a word at all? Like, what was the...
Divine Divinity?
Divine Divinity, which I did not realize that's where Divinity Original Sin came from.
Good thing they pivoted away from that shit.
Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
Metal Gear Rising.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. But you at least pointed out that those are like memorably bad as opposed to like games you cannot pronounce, because I think one of the first ones on
also,
the
Revengeance is just perfect for that whole situation.
Yeah, for that tone of game, that's fine. But one of the ones on there that we saw was VV. I think it's 6 Vs.
It's 6 Vs,
It's 6 Vs.
Okay.
And Austin, you were saying, you're like, that is actually kind of the worst because A, you can't easily pronounce it out loud to friends, but B, you can't even Google it that easily. It's kind of like that band that's just 3 exclamation points. Chick, yeah.
Yep.
But it at least does make you appreciate kind of the good names for games, which...
It makes Remastered Edition look like fucking the best name you ever heard.
Oh, man. Everyone pitch a game name right now.
I tried to make a bit, and I was like, this is going to be harder than I think. I'm just stopping myself ahead of time. I was just scrolling through Steam, uninstalling every game because nothing makes me happy anymore, and I came across that Remastered Edition. I was like, I'll leave this on here.
Just because the name made you giggle? Because that is a really good game.
Oh, no, I think I'm like 5 hours in. I bought it like months and months ago, and I just like periodically play it for 20 minutes here and there.
Yeah, it's fun to destroy stuff.
I have one. Hyper Dimension Neptunia.
All right. No, wait, that's already a game.
Sorry. Let me do another one. Senran Kagura.
What did you Google?
Nothing. Randy can attest I don't have my phone on. I just know a lot of Artinelico Koga.
That was the one I couldn't remember from... Was that a Japanese game? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I'm glad it was.
Sorry, the full title is Artinelico Koga, the Knell of RCL.
Man, that's loaded.
Well, He's speaking fucking Klingon.
What is it, friend of the podcast and your roommate, Matt? We were talking about the redundancy of a lot of Star Wars games. We were having a conversation about the Dark Forces games. Mm-hmm. And those are very hard to follow and kind of like the same way the Predator movies are.
Star Wars Dark Forces 4, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Academy.
No, Jedi Outcast was 2. Jedi 3 was Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
And even their other series, the Rogue Squadron one, is like Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader. And it's like, you don't need Rogue in there twice. Just call it Rogue Squadron 2. It's fine. But yeah. I guess you see maybe a little less of that now. A lot of game titles now are punchier. Like you want one word stuff. Like maybe Halo was
you just
like Gears.
No, not like
Gears 5, yeah. God. You just do what Cook Serve Delicious does.
That's a great name.
It's just exclamation points. It's cook, exclamation point, serve, exclamation point, delicious. Exclamation point. And then every time you do a sequel, you just add more exclamation points. To the point where like Cook Serve Delicious 3 doesn't fit in the Steam thing because there's so many goddamn exclamation points. It's great.
I think I've said it on here before that my favorite game titles are either Resident Evil, even though it's dumb, I just like it and it's fun to say, Hotline Miami, because That's a
great name.
Slamming title.
It's just a good name.
But I think the Grand Theft Auto might actually be the best.
I mean, Half-Life is really good.
Half-Life is really great, but I more mean...
As is Halo.
Halo is great, but I more mean Grand Theft Auto says what the game is, and it's fun to say.
I was going to say Halo does too.
And you can abbreviate it. Yeah, but it's, I guess, but it's like Grand Theft Auto, even a parent would just be like, you probably steal cars in this game, and guess what? You do. There's obviously way more to it than that.
That game taught me what that crime was.
And now,
you can't even me too.
Now you can't even hear Grand Theft Auto used in anything else, any movie or whatever, without immediate they own that crime now.
I'm a huge sucker for one-word names.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Destiny.
Like Halo is just class.
What about
Destiny? Just classy.
What about Black?
Black is great. Prey.
What about MAG?
Prey is
that's an abbreviation.
Shooter games.
Prey is a phenomenal name.
Well, yeah, they like the name so much they
used it twice.
They used it twice for two entirely different games.
It was so nice they used it twice. What's that saying?
What about Evolve?
Sorry, sir. MAG is an acronym. We've been over this.
Yeah.
Stands for Massive Action Game, and you want to talk about describing the game in the title.
Good point.
That is a massive action game.
Well, not anymore, it ain't.
Then
emphasis on the massive and de-emphasis on the game part.
Big ring shooty green guy. That's what Halo would have been, but they changed it at the last minute.
Yeah, it's not called Halo Austin. It's called Halo Combat Evolved. Come on, you host a whole episode
Deceit, great name.
That is a good name.
The Cycle is a good name.
Yeah. The only problem,
Evolve is a good name if it was a good game.
The only problem with simple names sometimes is it makes it harder to expand on because everybody hates putting numbers on things anymore, and B, there's probably harder to patent, if I had to guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, Blizzard's good at it.
Yeah, I guess so.
All theirs are Warcraft, StarCraft,
Diablo,
Overwatch,
they just named a game WoW.
Yeah.
Well, I got very confused when recently I was watching the quick look of the new X-Play, and it was Gears Tactics, and they kept talking about the term Overwatch.
XCOM.
What did I say?
X-Play. It's a show that's no longer on the air.
Sorry. But
I was also like, wait, they're remaking X-Play on what channel?
Sorry.
But I just let you go because I figured you knew something I didn't.
But they were using the term Overwatch.
Yeah, it's from XCOM.
I know, but
it's when you hold your position, so if the enemy moves in your sight during your turn, you get to shoot at them.
But it suddenly made that game name feel way less original. Amazing game, but...
Nah. It's fine.
What, Overwatch is less original now?
Yeah, no, the name, it was like, you know.
Oh, I was going to say, it's kind of defined by original characters. You know, ninja guy. And
cowboy.
Girl with robot.
Yeah.
Originality.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, all right, guys. I'm Randall Beatrice, here with Austin Blakesley and Chris Anantuano. Those are the wonderful voices that you've been listening to so far.
I don't have to talk. You're just going to hear me grunt the whole episode, so it's fine.
And welcome to our third Hot Button Microtransactions episode, number 3. Woo. This series, of course, being dedicated to a collection of smaller topics hosted by all three of us as we each take turns around the virtual table. So, without further ado, Chris, I believe you are first up. If we are keeping with tradition today, order has been pretty great
that I was
for
first.
total.
I'm going. No, we're going straight out of memory.
No, you were.
You absolutely were first. Yeah, both times.
Which what I'm saying is great
because it starts out kind of strong and then drags in the middle. If you know what I'm saying.
Then
at the end it picks way up.
Right.
I don't remember who was in what position, but that's how I remember it.
I'm responsible for the silly part of the tonal whiplash that this fucking
and I'm responsible for the boring science part, but not anymore. Now we're getting into Twitch drama. That's a little foreshadowing.
But yeah, why ruin a good thing, right? So let's get started.
Well, I want to start this episode with a message. In these uncertain and unprecedented times, we just want to let you know that Hot Button Corporation is here for you, okay? And we're here to remind you that we're all in this together, okay?
So sign up for
our
newsletter.
And by all of us, of course, I mean all the corporations. And by this, of course, I mean using our fascist propaganda machine that demands you work unwaveringly and consume beyond your means and willingly sacrifice your bones and blood to grease the gears of the black engine of capitalism. So, thank you, and keep doing your part by washing your hands, and Hot Button will be here for you.
And buying stuff, don't forget that.
Yes.
Well, you gotta buy soap to wash your hands.
It's true. And while you're there, you might as well get like Doritos and stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But what else are you gonna wash off your hands? Sorry, you can go now.
I believe you suck your fingers off with Doritos.
Yeah, suck your fingers off is the right way to say that phrase. Thank you for that.
So are you talking about weed and shit, or is that just me?
No.
Okay, right.
Last time I did that really hard to listen to topic, nothing's really fun or easy about listening to how everybody's explored in Africa for all of recorded history.
Oh, right, the one you did about war. No, that was a fun romp, yeah.
So I thought this time I would go in the complete opposite direction. A few weeks ago, I found a really great story, and I sent it to you guys in our Discord, and I was like, I really want to do something with this, or at least talk about it with people. And I figured microtransactions would be that sort of perfect.
Yeah, fuck yeah. This is the place.
For that. So, wholesomeness, that's a feeling that's just as present in video games as every other emotion is. Some games use it as like a little reprieve from an otherwise heavy experience. I'm thinking immediately when I look it up, the giraffe scene in The Last of Us.
Yes,
I don't know if you remember that.
That's a great...
Yeah. It's this nice fucking moment like in the middle of this just horrible game. And other games have wholesomeness baked into every inch, like famed game series whose most recent installment was released on March 20th. Doom. So, I would like to ask you guys, what are some of your favorite wholesome games or wholesome gaming moments? You don't have to make it too long.
No, that's a fucking...
If you got something you can think of.
That's a good one.
We can edit out the silence if you got to think on it.
Well, you took the draft scene away from both of us. I like that juxtaposition quite a lot, and it's weirdly prevalent in a lot of games. The BioShock Infinite scene where they play guitar in the bar.
Oh, God.
Where Booker plays...
Will the circle be unbroken?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, great fucking scene.
Yeah. Contrasted against all the horrible violence.
There's a couple great scenes in the newest God of War game.
Oh, with
between
the
son and Kratos.
Dad of War, right?
Yeah, Dad of
Dad
War.
of War.
There's a couple dad moments in that are pretty good.
That's a good one.
And that is a hectic game with a couple wholesome reprieves.
Yeah.
One of my favorite recent examples, because my brain can't go back too far, is in Red Dead Redemption 2. There's some side stuff towards the back half of the game when you find out.
You talking about the house?
No. Not that. That's just kind of silly. There's some people you befriend at a point where Arthur kind of just needs any sort of support system to talk to, and not to reveal too much. The game was released that long ago. Hopefully people still play it who haven't yet, but there are some dark parts and realizations and kind of what goes wrong in your community of people to the end of that game, and things that Arthur finds out about himself. And that game is full of a lot of action and violence and racism and all this. And there are a couple in particular that I guess I don't want to name specifically, but that you meet some people out in the open world that you kind of just pal around with and have very human heart-to-hearts back and forth. And it's like right before the last part of that adventure where everything culminates and crescendos. And I really tiptoed around the point, but I think
you did a great job.
I got another good one. Mass Effect.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure each of those 3 games ends with a suicide mission, quote unquote, where you're just your whole team kind of just looks around each other, is like, we're not coming back from this, are we? And you're like, probably not. And Mass Effect 3, as much as people shit on that ending, right before you go into the final battle with the Reapers, you all go to a bar together and get drunk, and that is a great fucking
Oh, that sounds great. I didn't play through it.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But no,
for all it's worth,
cool
that game is great up until the last 20 minutes.
It is.
So. It's a shame a lot of people, I think, forget everything before it.
Well, now while video games can use wholesomeness in the writing or the mechanics, like we just talked about, most of the best moments come from people themselves.
Hold on, I thought of one other great example. The Discord that we have.
Oh, yeah.
Both of the Discords that we frequent have like kind of a wholesome channel.
We do.
Yeah, so when we share all these links in the other channels about the horrors of reality in the modern world, you can go into the wholesome channel. Sorry, just shout out.
No, it's okay. So like I was saying, some of the best moments are when people themselves interact. When games give us opportunities to interact with the world and be nice to one another, it always seems to stand out. And I'm thinking that's probably because we're usually just wild animals with barely any self-awareness. So it's nice when that doesn't happen.
We're just bombarded with misery. Yeah.
Yeah. Things like previous hot button topic that Austin talked about earlier, folding at home, which is currently being used to help fight against COVID-19, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And they're also doing a bunch of of other things beyond that and have for a long time. Or recently I read that someone tweeted about their turnip prices in Animal Crossing, and Elijah Wood asked us if he could just show up in their island and hang out. Also, so I thought that was pretty cool.
There was also
Frodo hanging out on your island.
The recent story about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I love her.
Got Animal Crossing, and she's just been showing up to people's islands and hanging out with them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Or this also just happened recently. A German streamer named Hand of Blood streamed the release of Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord for 24 hours, the whole time wearing a full suit of knight armor, like full metal armor. You should look that up. It's pretty amazing.
That rules.
I read a story the other day that people are meeting up, and you talked about Red Dead. They're meeting up in really organized ways in Red Dead Redemption 2 online to ride trails on horseback together.
Oh, that's
and
so cool.
They're not going like fast or anything. They're literally just trotting along at the slowest speed, just looking at the scenery and like hanging out with each other. Like they're just talking on Discord.
Man.
Look at this tree. Oh, a bunny, you know?
That's great.
Now, while that might be a product of the pandemic, it's still nice to see that somber, violent world being used or something like that.
Yeah.
And meeting up online to hang out with your friends is one of the most wholesome things you can do with games.
Absolutely.
I've gushed about the community I played with Destiny for years and how much that meant to me and all the memories I have. And obviously you have your own experiences, and I'm sure everyone else has similar feelings. Or how else would I have read an article titled 7 World of Warcraft Weddings You Won't Believe on Mashable.
They had enough. They had enough for that whole list and to rank them. That's great.
So that'll be as good as any transition to get the story I wanted to tell you today. Elder Scrolls Online. For many people, an engaging and entertaining MMO set in the beautifully realized universe of the Elder Scrolls series. For me, it's a vexatious topic of conversation since our producer and ESO fan Jason would tell me that I should play it every single day until the mention of it became a fucking joke.
I was like, I think I know somebody, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
Who's
Our
pretty
story
into this
begins. Our story begins in Alinor, which is a major city that served as the beginning point for new players.
Is that near Cyrodiil or?
Yeah.
I made fun of myself now. That means none of you could do it anymore.
That does not mean that at all.
No, that does not. No,
absolutely not.
Damn it! All right, I'll just shut up then.
So this city is a major point for players new and old for the Somerset Isles DLC, which is one of the game's expansions, and that was recently released when this story took place.
All right.
So on a bridge that lies between a fast travel shrine and the major crafting areas, there lies a character, and it's not an NPC character, it's a real-life person character, okay? And this real-life person character is an Argonian, which is one of Elder Scrolls' main species. They're like humanoid lizard folks if you've never played any of the games. So in Elder Scrolls lore, Argonians often have peculiar names that are kind of related to like specific tasks they've completed, I guess, or things about them in general. For example, these are a few I looked up from the series. Hauls rope faster, that's one. Scouts many marshes. Swims at night. Wanders in tatters.
Got kind of a Native American kind of theme going on.
Watcher from afar. I don't know if I like that one.
That's just Sting.
Or this.
You mean Sting the musician?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Sting the wrestler.
All right.
Yeah. Or this, my favorite one, weaves one basket, which is just, I don't know how
you peaked early with that,
yeah. Yeah, but you get the point. So the name of this particular Argonian character, located on this particular bridge, is Sleeps on Bridges. Okay.
All right.
So here's what this player does. For several hours a night, almost every day in the week, you can find Sleeps on Bridges living up to his namesake, using the sleep emote to sleep on this bridge in Alinor. So we're talking about a real-life person dedicating real-world time to just this A-class roleplay bit. And throughout the night, players walk by in droves because it is a high-traffic area, and they all react in like a multitude of ways to him. Like, some just come up and laugh because ESO has proximity chat. A lot of others do like emotes. Some will lay down and sleep next to him.
I support this all wholeheartedly right now.
Yeah. One of my favorite has to be that people play music from an instrument, which has led to this thing called Loot Flute Wars. So I've seen a video of this. Dozens of players will stand up on like the railing edges of the bridges opposite of each other with flutes on one side and lutes on the other, and then they'll like battle, which I can only assume sounds like just pure fucking hell. And one time witnessed by a player, quote, somebody was using the /yell command to serenade the entire region of Alinor with an all-caps rendition of Smash Mouth's All-Star. So I read about this story on PC Gamer.
Shrek would be proud.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I read it on PC Gamer, and the writer of the story said he heard about Sleeps on Bridges through some Reddit post and then some popularity, and then he proceeded to track him down. So the guy was apparently shy and just a regular old gamer, and he started the character as a weekend experiment just to get a few laughs and kind of salute the lore to the Elder Scrolls. Like, hey, here's my cool roleplay character.
Yeah, right
But
on.
after an overwhelming reaction that first weekend, he ended up maining the character after that. And a whole guild even sprung up around him without him even doing anything, called the Bridge Sleeping Tribe, which at the time of this article had over 150 members.
I want to be a part of that tribe.
Apparently Sleeps on Bridges like didn't want anything to do with it. Like he was like, I want to be in the guild, but I don't want to be in control. I'm just sleeping on bridges, man. But he eventually became the guild leader.
He just wants to sleep on those bridges.
He eventually became the guild leader, but he refuses to give it any direction whatsoever. Like, he gives nothing. Quote, my favorite quality of our bridge sleeping culture is how it is a 100% organic hobby that players choose to do without my request or direct influence.
Just beautiful.
So spending several hours a night to log on to an MMO and just sleep on a bridge because you've essentially become a staple NPC character in this world, it's just one of my favorite things ever. And it's a dedication to this great bit, and it's really charming, and I think wholesome incarnate.
Describe it well.
Just another example of how games aren't a place to hear about how your mom's getting boned down on, but they can be a platform for you to interact with and improve each other's lives, even if it's just laying on a fucking bridge. All right, so I'll leave us off with a quote from the person who created Mr. Sleeps on Bridges himself. Quote, this might sound cheesy, but the best gift I've gotten is other players' appreciation for this character. It gives me a really unique feeling of mutual acknowledgement. I've been in love with Elder Scrolls ever since I played Morrowind in 2003, and the amount of love that people show Sleeps made me feel like he's my genuine tribute to the Elder Scrolls and its amazing fan base.
That's adorable.
So, that's my story. I think it's fucking amazing. I love this person. It's so stupid, but it's just like this perfect little thing.
No, I give that story a big fat aw.
Yeah, exactly.
And just bless the bit. Just bless this person for committing to this bit.
That's good.
And don't worry, I'll outweigh all the wholesomeness later.
You're going to counteract that,
I'm going to counteract the wholesomeness.
My story is not wholesome, but we'll be laughing. That's all right. So originally I was going to cover the wild fucking tale that is Cooking Mama Cookstar, which is probably one of my favorite game controversies in a long time. But seeing as how it is technically still ongoing, I figured it might be a better idea to wait a little on that one and instead take us back to 2008 and talk about what is likely the most stolen game ever, a crappy point-and-click adventure game for the PC named Limbo of the Lost. Have you guys heard of this thing?
Never heard of that.
Okay. Because I honestly barely
knew
shit about this story until a friend of the podcast, who I actually mentioned earlier, Matt, brought it up to me a while back, and leading me to the research of which was very confusing. Okay. For starters, we got a mystery title that looks like a super generic box that you would find in the home computer section of a Staples or like a Walmart.
I don't think do they carry games at Staples anymore?
Well, I don't know if Staples carries anything in it anymore, at least around us, since they're gone. But I think you guys can sort of picture it. But this is where I also assume lives the demographic that the cover was more or less trying to appeal to. The company that made it was called Majestic Studios, not to be confused with Majesco or other video game Majestic by EA. No, these guys were a relatively unknown British developer founded in 1993 and released this product, and only this product, before rightfully disappearing forever. Attempts to research the team now mostly just link to a wedding photography group of the same name.
Okay.
And you also heard that right. The studio opened in 93 and the game in question debuted in 08. That means it took 15 years for them to fucking get this something onto shelves. Like, well,
that explains why it's a text adventure that came out in 2008, huh?
Well, it's just hilarious that it was like that this bullshit was the result of all that fucking time. This is mostly due to the fact...
This is part of the reason Duke Nukem was delayed, when they were like, oh my god, a text adventure in 2008, we gotta add this.
Yeah.
But this is all mostly due to the fact that Limbo the Lost initially first appeared as an Atari ST and Amiga 500 title all the way back at the European Computer Trade Show in 1995. The pitch was designed to be a return to form for the classic, like Austin said, graphical text adventure, and it had a demo. The setting was kind of intriguing too, focusing on the true story of Captain Benjamin Briggs, as well as an alternate take on him and his crew's famous disappearance upon the ship the Mary Celeste in 1872. However, due to the obviously dwindling market on the hosted platforms, and not to mention the genre and all that stuff, but it wasn't exactly finished either. The project had major difficulty finding a publisher. That's when Rasputin Software, owned by Grand Slam Entertainment, picked up the task before later changing their mind and pulling out once it was ready for release. Like, by this point, those consoles were super dead, so it was shelved. And that's the end of her story. Or at least it was, until suddenly in 2003, the game quietly reappeared after development was restarted. Except now efforts were shifted to Windows instead. Smart move. And same team as before. Primarily it was Steve Bovis, Tim Croucher, or is it Croucher? I want to say Croucher.
I have no idea.
And Lawrence Francis. They also supposedly had issues prior when trying to grow the staff. So this entire thing was basically like built from the ground up again in 3D. They even found not just one publisher this time, but two. G2 Games was handling the launch in Europe in 2007, while Tri-Synergy was in charge of wider distribution in North America 6 months later. Not exactly
How do people put out games? This sounds like if we were like, let's make a game, and all of a sudden we're getting published.
I mean, I guess this is pre-recession, but still not exactly the most well-known of help here with these publishers, but hey, they got it out.
Tri-Synergy sounds like a fake company in a sitcom.
It does. I was gonna say it sounds like a front for like a villain who has an volcano island or something.
Yeah.
So funny thing is, physical versions were said to be very rare to find, casting doubt about the legitimacy of its production, though that's what online distribution's for. A teaser trailer was put out promoting its release, but then it was quickly edited after, quote, failing to meet ESRB regulations. There didn't seem to be anything troubling with the actual content. If anything, it read more like it could have been a potential problem with payment. When those looking for answers began to search into the devs themselves, the only helpful page out there was Majestic's GeoCities site, now, of course, defunct.
Hell yeah, dude. You remember GeoCities and Angel Fire?
Yeah.
The early internet was dope, dude.
The group was active on there, regularly posting behind-the-scenes, quote-unquote, videos of the team working, albeit with some of the featured concept art sporting character names that I am not comfortable repeating. Regardless, the game looked real enough, I guess, despite codes only being purchasable through their website and Amazon rather than services such as Steam or GOG. Wait, was GOG around then? Maybe not.
In 2008? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think it launched in 08. It might have launched. I think it was the same year, but I don't know exactly when. You can look that up. I'm not sure. Anyway, June 2nd, Limbo the Lost is on the shelves. Kind of, if you can find it. I couldn't for the life of me locate a price point or if review copies were ever sent out to outlets either. But enough about all that boring stuff. Let's get into the shit. So 9 days later on the 11th, the site Game Plasma uploaded an article, along with screenshots, drawing attention to the questionable in-game location that a user came across while playing. It showcased a room, specifically a bar, that appeared to be 100% identical to one found in The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion.
Okay.
After this discovery, a thread was then started on NeoGAF where other people started to show interest in diving deeper into Limbo, just in case there were more violations against their favorite fantasy RPG. And boy, did their digging pull up some shit. Like, honestly, it's amazing. What began as a simple search for more stolen areas from Oblivion bizarrely ended with posters finding tons of assets taken from a laundry list of media. There was the Keeper Library from Thief 3, decorated with skulls from Diablo 2. Spoken dialogue from Rune, which was confirmed by a rep of theirs. Entire scenes were fucking ripped from Painkiller, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and Silent Hill 4: The Room. Objects were spotted, wait for it, from Crysis, BioShock, Unreal Tournament 2003 and 4, Baldur's Gate, Sea Dogs, World of Warcraft, Enclave, Morrowind, the other two Thief games, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, Hexen, The Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth, and a CryEngine 2 tech demo. It was even revealed that the game's cursor was the same one in black and white too. It was insane.
Where did they get all this?
They just ripped assets.
So yeah, screenshots were being taken, shared left and right. Like, I can show you guys the pictures. The results were inarguable.
Oh, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at some now. This is insane.
It was a goddamn scavenger hunt in there, with more and more materials being posted every few hours, like Philip Mewson style. Things then somehow got weirder after enthusiasts began to then look outside of just video games, discovering that some of the featured FMV sequences drew a connection to live-action films, audio as well as images from Spawn, Beetlejuice, and Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3.
God,
I can't imagine.
This
Like,
makes
wait,
me-
is that Johnny Depp? They got him for this game? Holy shit.
It makes me want to play this so much more just because how the fuck do you steal from Thief and Elder Scrolls, Beetlejuice, and Pirates?
Well, that's the thing.
Crisis.
All of these examples, by the way, they have completely different aesthetics.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and none of them particularly obscure at all, or they're all owned by.
Yeah, it's just like Johnny Depp's like, I'm on the deck of the Black Pearl. This is nice, and then the Crisis suit just turns from invisible to just in the background, like Predator.
Halfway through wandering around environments from Thief, you just come onto an FMV cutscene of Michael Keaton in his Beetlejuice outfit talking to Will Turner from fucking Pirates of the Caribbean.
And then just Spawn comes in.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Because that's the thing. It's like, none of these are small rights holders fucking either. Like, it's like, God, it's like Disney. Like, they're gonna get their ass kicked.
You're just walking around an Elder Scrolls bar and you just hear Johnny Depp go, "Why is all the rum gone?" It's the only line I remember from those movies.
Yeah. Until right after that, you just see like the Big Daddy from BioShock. And, oh my God. It's so good. The copyright violations were so numerous and so blatant. Many were recent, like I mentioned. I don't know how anyone could have ever possibly thought that they would have gotten away with this.
Probably because they were going to be on a shelf in Staples and no one would notice, dude.
Fucking even people shopping at Walmart that don't know jack fuck about computers, I'm sure have probably seen a Pirates of the Caribbean movie at some point, or at least just through cultural osmosis.
Those movies didn't do well.
Yeah, no one saw those, right?
Pirates of the what?
Many thought the only reasonable explanation was that it had to be part of some ARG, like or something.
Yeah, this is too insane. It's got to be part of more.
Like it was too obvious, and like the industry had never seen anything like this prior. Not on this scale, anyway. There was the time that Uncharted 4 trailer and Assassin's Creed Unity had like a placeholder mix-up, and also when my own mom had to deal with her work being used without permission in some games by a publisher who shall remain nameless until I know I can maybe have her on to talk about the experience herself.
Wait a second. You said what about Uncharted? You know, they stole a whole game, Crash Bandicoot, for a scene in one of their games. Can you believe that?
Instead of a boulder, it's a truck.
Yeah, it's like, all right, Nathan Drake's playing Crash Bandicoot.
Oh,
the Black Pearl just crashes through the screen and the Crisis guy jumps off of it.
I fucking love Uncharted, and that part in 4 rules when you play on the PlayStation together. That's so good. I'm all about games and other games like used that way. That's also a fucking great example of like a wholesome moment in an otherwise action game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was on the wholesome list.
Yeah, that's a very like sweet sort of, breakup of all of that bigger action where you get all the good character back and forth drama. This was something else, and once the word of massive plagiarism was out, publisher Tri-Synergy rightfully distanced themselves hard, claiming that they had no idea Majestic was doing what they were doing. On June 12th, only one day after the first catch was found, the game was officially removed from retail. And
wait, a catch? They had the ship from Destiny in there? The ship that the Fallen used too?
It was removed from retail and download. A rep at Tri also contacted the studio for response, which I can only imagine what that email read like. Not a peep from Europe's G2, by the way, the other publisher. Then on June the 24th, the developers would post their statement, quote, in response to the shocking notification that some alleged unauthorized copyright of materials submitted by sources external to the development team have been found within the PC game Limbo of the Lost, we have given our consent and full cooperation to both publishers who are recalling all units from all territories immediately. To the best of our knowledge, no one at Majestic, G2 Games, or Tri-Synergy Inc. knew about this infringement and knowingly played any part in it. Which, cool, but then how the fuck did this happen? Who was responsible? Well, according to project lead and programmer Steve Bovis, Majestic didn't actually make the art assets here and instead claimed it was done by an outside contractor. A name wasn't given, but he assured that they were investigating.
And then once we got it back, we just said, fuck it, we'll keep it all.
Then the other 2 founding members of the studio, Francis and Croucher, gave their reasons. First was that they themselves had nothing to do with the graphics. And second was that it
of course not.
Wasn't a result of outsourced work and that it was indeed done internally. Of course. They also revealed that because of this, they were both resigning from the company. A month later, on June 30th, a more detailed statement from them was released. Quote, due to the behavior of certain members of the Majestic Studios team, Mr. T. Croucher and Mr. L. Francis would like to announce their departure from Majestic Studios and would like it known that they had severed all connections, ties, and links with the remaining members of the Majestic team.
How could they be the heads of the studio and not know that the only game they're producing is full of this stuff and then go, hey man, I know we may be in charge, but we had no clue. We're out.
I mean, the fucking... There's only like 3 people. Like, really, like, that's sort of I know there's probably other people on this team, but for the most part, this is a game that is, like...
Also, I like the other
the
guy's...
work of 3 people.
I like the other guy's statement where he's just like, hey, man, the art wasn't us. It's like, you're making a text adventure. What the fuck did you do?
So after that harsh and fair announcement, they also went on to say what their exact jobs on the product were. Croucher was on general research, as well as some voice acting and puzzle design, and Francis did the music, a little bit of script writing, and also lent his voice and help with the puzzle design as well. Quote,
yeah, I thought it was weird when I was writing the script and somebody suggested I name a character Jack Sparrow. I just went with it.
And that's when Captain Benjamin Briggs looked in the mirror and said, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Quote, neither Mr. Croucher nor Mr. Francis had any say or control over graphics, rendering, coding, or game screen design. I guess they mean UI there, but I don't know. Also, nobody is talking...
We never looked at a game. We never looked at a screen, ever.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not mentioning the audio here either, I guess, so I don't know.
How do you write a game with never looking at anything? Are these guys in some sort of Minority Report pool, and it's just the game idea comes to them, and they ship it up to an idiot who slaps a Diablo skull on it and carries it along?
Look, dude, all I saw was concept art, and he points to the concept art filing cabinet, and it's just a bin full of Blu-rays and 360 games.
To finish this quote, as far as both Mr. Croucher and Mr. Francis were aware, they really don't have to introduce themselves like that every time. The Mr. thing. All
they're
submitted,
businessmen, dude.
All submitted material.
Yeah, they're distinguished.
All submitted material was to be original. Both Mr. Croucher and Mr. Francis adhered to this contractual clause. So who was it? Well, shortly after this, a post was discovered on the Wintermute engine forums dated back in December of 2004. That was the engine the game itself was built in. But in it, there was a gallery of screenshots with the captions openly taking credit for creating a couple backgrounds in 3D Studio. Except they were from Return to Castle Wolfenstein, one of the 500 things I listed earlier that shit was grabbed from. I assume he edited out all the swastikas, I don't know. Oh, and the poster? Steve Bovis, Limbo of the Lost director and finger pointer who spouted that contractors were behind all the thievery. Now, while this technically isn't definitive proof against him, it does lend quite the credence that he himself was truly responsible for the endless well of deliberately stolen copyrighted works. In addition to that, an earlier interview with Just Adventure, Steve publicly gave the names of his full team and described his position at Majestic in full. Quote, "My job is to put the game together and create all the visuals, coding, sounds, models, marketing, and basically make the game flow and work, as well as manage and try to motivate the team. A job that is hard enough at the best of times." End quote. Which, how do you think he motivated them?
I don't know,
Did they
man.
make him
I was
watch
just
a
trying
bunch
to
of
make a
movies?
text adventure. Turns out when you need pictures of things, you can't just, what, you gotta draw them? I don't know what to do. It just...
I don't even own a pencil. So, whoops. Not only did he not mention any outside contractor hiring here, but he also clearly states that making all the assets, both visual and not, are solely on him. Once these answers were found, users on the Wintermute forums then dug through the rest of his profile and its post, documenting anything regarding his personal involvement in various aspects of the game's graphical art. All in all, about 8 were archived that gave pretty irrefutable evidence for the role he played during this game's production, and who really knows why he would commit such self-sabotage here, if it truly was him. I mean...
He was the fall guy, because Tri-Synergy was Dr. Evil Show Corporation. So he had to fall. Somebody had to fall on the sword.
He could have been stressed and rushing to make a deadline, maybe. But, either way, though, this goes far beyond just a single lapse in judgment.
Yeah. Tri-Synergy had to distract from the controversy because they make text adventures in Black Hawk helicopters. So
these Tomahawk missiles are stolen.
Yeah.
So I think in the end it was said around 76 instances of plagiarism were found. Hell, it could be way more than that for all we know.
Given how quickly these guys tried to back out, how much they fumbled with it, it sounds just like two con men. They're like, we can make a video game, make some money.
One thing we are certain of, however, is that Limbo of the Lost is never, ever coming back for resale. Majestic is gone. Steve Bovis is gone. I assume both were sued into oblivion and Disney promptly buried the guy somewhere. We may never find out. I couldn't find anything about an actual lawsuit, though, interestingly enough. Honestly, that may have happened, which is the best case scenario for him, is that everything was taken down before any of the other affected rights holders could respond. Today, only a few copies of the game float around on eBay, priced between $270 and $1,500 for all you crazy collectors out there after the recalls.
You bought one, didn't you?
I don't have that kind of money.
But you would if you did. You would if you did have the money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There are currently just 3 reviews up for it on Metacritic, one being a score of 23 out of 100, while the other 2 are flat-out zeros. Their summaries don't even bring up the stolen works, but instead point out the overall bugginess, as well as its insultingly boring gameplay and production values as being the largest criticisms against it.
I thought Pirates of the Caribbean...
Those reviewers have...
I mean, remember, we've been joking. It was a point-and-click game.
I was just saying, I thought Pirates of the Caribbean had great production value.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say these reviewers have no fun. Like, you can get a review of this game and be like, the gameplay sucks. It's like, what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Beetlejuice is in this game.
The funny thing is, the nature of it being the style of games means the backgrounds that weren't theirs didn't even have to move. It was just super,
just Google image search bar, castle bar.
I know. You didn't have to take it from fucking Oblivion, which only came out,
I know,
a year
sure
prior.
You'll get less trouble by stealing an Image Shack background than you will fucking taking from Elder Scrolls.
It's just the superimposed character picture, like post on top of a static background that says Getty Images real big. Like,
oh yeah, I was gonna say it's like Doom, but picture all the text have like some sort of watermark all over it.
No, instead they had to have it be Wolfenstein, which doesn't even make sense considering the time period of this shit. But yeah, now I'm going to leave this all with a funny quote from Mr. Bovis. I mean, the quote itself isn't funny, but in context, it definitely made me laugh. Before I do that, though, I should point out that Mr. Croucher, and Mr. Francis may not entirely be innocent themselves. Players did discover some recycled puzzles, design they each claim to have been a part of. But hey, nobody in the story is ever going to be hired to develop in the field ever again anyway, so who cares? All right. So last quote from Stevie Boy. This was an answer to a question in an interview with QT3 regarding if other games were an inspiration for the title. His response? The project is more influenced by film than other games. We want the experience to be as original as possible, and as such, we have made a calculated effort to keep away from other games in the genre. Man, this is better than I thought, honestly. Like he's just overcompensating so far. Limbo the Lost is an experience first and foremost. Secondly, wrapped up in a game media genre. There you have it, folks. No one is more authentic. Oh, and before we move on to yours, Austin, I'd like to thank Rock, Paper, Shotgun and Giant Bomb for their exposés on the subject. I'm actually going to give credit here, unlike those idiots. But that's it. Limbo the Lost. Apparently the ending of the campaign is also insane, from what I heard, but whatever. Can't be dumber than all this.
Yeah, right at the end, you're like, damn, Limbo the Lost wasn't that bad after all. And then all of a sudden you get brought aboard the Reaper ship, and they ask you whether you want to have a red ending, a blue ending, or a green ending.
And then Deadpool comes riding the never-ending story monster. And
use the Force, Benjamin Briggs.
Yeah. Alec Guinness just shows up.
All right, Austin, what have you got for us?
All right.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what?
How much is this story?
Just say a number. On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how many backwards baseball hats are involved? It's like 8.
Wow, that's like almost up to the guy games.
Yeah. All right, well, before I get into the actual story, which I will reveal as I'm talking.
All right.
Kind of, storytell a little bit.
He's burying the lead.
I'm gonna get into 3 levels, just for anybody out there that doesn't know.
Hurt me plenty.
No,
I'm gonna cover. I am hell reincarnate.
There's a dream within a dream.
Okay, I need to cover 3 important things that everybody needs to know for this story. The first one, everybody probably already knows, but if you didn't, FIFA is a very popular soccer game franchise made by Electronic Arts.
No corruption.
Now, which soccer?
There.
Is that the one where they're on the horses with the mallets?
Soccer is the one where...
European football.
Whoa, called out, dude.
What?
Get out of Europe.
Yeah, you better... If you can get on a plane now, you can go nowhere in the world. You're the only safe place.
Yeah. European football is called rugby.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, FIFA's a soccer game. Point 2.
Or South America, actually, would have been better.
An important part of every EA sports game now is called Ultimate Team. You guys know what Ultimate Team is?
Is this the trading cards thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So for those of you that don't know, here's a quick rundown. First introduced in FIFA 2009, later added in Madden 2010, and then NHL 2011.
I played it in Madden, yeah.
Ultimate Team is EA's cash printing machine, and probably the reason why they haven't had to worry about making a good game in years. It's a play on fantasy sports instead of simply playing as a real-life team and all the players on that team. Yep. Players open packs of cards, packs that you can earn with FIFA coins, which you can also buy FIFA coins.
Of course.
With real-life money. These packs have cards in them. Each card represents a real-life athlete on a real-life soccer team. Players then fit these cards into slots that represent the positions on the pitch. Soccer is stupid. Come at me, Europe, again.
Damn.
You can construct a team out of these cards. You fit them into the slots for whatever position they play. Goalie, linebackers, football. I don't know anything about soccer. But
name one more soccer position.
Forward.
Hey,
that's basketball.
That's hockey, but it's also soccer, I think.
There you go.
And then you take that team either against the AI or, as most people do, online to play against other Ultimate Teams to prove that you have the Ultimate Team. And obviously, as any card game microtransactions bullshit goes, you don't get your fucking... God, I can't even name a soccer player.
Pele.
No, he's long since retired.
I know, but that's all I think.
Messi?
When we were watching E3, Austin, and then,
Michael Jordan.
And we were making jokes about how EA always brings athletes out on stage, and when they announced the next FIFA, we were like, what soccer player they're going to bring out? And Dan Bittner, it's like a friend of ours who's listened to the show and been on it, previous guest, was like, they're going to bring out Pele, aren't they? And we're like, they're not going to fucking bring out Pele. It's like 2017 or something, and then Pele walks out. Dan's like, I told you, Pele. Nobody in America knows anyone else that plays soccer. Just fucking Expos in Los Angeles.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're showing about how much we know about sports right now.
I probably should have looked up, but the best of the best star athletes that everybody in the rest of the world knows are obviously very rare.
Yeah.
To use an example that I do know, your Tom Brady would not be in a starter pack. You would have to pull a lot of packs to get Tom Brady for the Madden version.
Yeah, right.
And, you're going to have to earn or buy a lot of packs in order to find the best players. And obviously, the better the team, the easier it is for you to win.
Pay to win, you might say.
It is almost like the literal definition of pay to win.
It is so pay to win.
I mean, I guess also a good comparison would be like, in terms of rarity, like baseball cards and the randomness of it. Though you didn't...
More like Magic.
Yeah, because you actually
there's a
played.
gameplay
The good
element.
point. Yeah, there's
But just like with any microtransaction-based thing, there are ways to earn them without buying them. You can...
Okay.
There's a trading system that I tried to look up, and it's worse than the stock market. I don't understand it at all. But there are different modes, and some modes offer better rewards than others. One such mode offers the highest rewards, and it is called FIFA Ultimate Team Champions, or as I will now on refer to it, Foot Champions, F-U-T. That is what everybody in the community calls it, so I'm going to call it that.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. It's stupid.
Wait, Foot Champions?
Foot Champions.
Foot Champion.
Or, as they actually call it, Foot Weekend League, because this is a weekend league for the game. Now, in order to
And is there a thread where you post pictures of your team called Foot?
Damn it! I
Foot
was actually leaning into a similar joke and then decided against it. Thank God you swooped in.
I hate both of you. This is a weekend league for the game. In order to qualify for this weekend league, because you don't just get to join it and play, you got to qualify. In order to qualify for this league, to participate, you need to win tournaments during the week, which is basically to win a tournament. It's single elimination, so you have to play a bunch of games without losing one. Mm-hmm. You have to be ranked Division 1 in the Foot season mode, or you have to have a gold rank from the previous weekend. Now, we'll get to gold rank in a second. Not only is the barrier for entry insane, but so is the time commitment. Get this. Being in the weekend league requires you to play 30 matches a weekend. All of the information... A weekend. All of the information...
That's a lot.
Or a lot of the information that I am using for the story, which we will get to in a little bit, comes from a Eurogamer write-up all about it. They calculate that FIFA matches take around about 20 minutes, depending on breaks and whether you skip them or whatever.
Right.
So that comes to about 10 hours of digital soccer a weekend.
In 48 hours?
And that is not including the obvious time that somebody who really cares about this would take tinkering with their team outside of the matches.
Yeah, so you're literally doing 2 8-hour shifts.
Yeah,
this is a full-time commitment for sure. And then the mode is not structured like a tournament. Now, you have to win tournaments to get into it, but it is not structured like a tournament. The way it works is you never get knocked out. You just play those 30 games, and then they rank everybody based on their, performance.
Okay.
So, even if you lose all 30 of your games, you still have to play all 30 games. Unlike a tournament where if you're really bad, you get knocked out in the first round, you're like, well, I'm done with that. You have to play all 30 games. At the end of the weekend, the game ranks all the players into leagues. Like I said, gold division, silver, bronze, just like any ranked game.
I know what the scrub league is.
But this is based entirely on win-loss ratio and nothing else. Okay.
Wow.
So there's no hidden MMR matchmaking rating behind it.
Very unlike other games.
Yes. And the rewards are doled out accordingly. So if you're the top player of that weekend, you obviously get a whole bunch of shit. Winning that and in the gold league can reward you with thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands maybe of FIFA coins to spend on packs. Some packs themselves, some packs guaranteeing all rare players, some so-called mega packs, which I don't know what that is. Tried to look it up.
I assume it's just a shitload of cards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And even exclusive versions of cards that are only available to winners of this mode.
Cool.
Now, this sounds like the very elite would be there, right?
Yeah.
This is a very popular mode within this community. It is pretty much, if you are into FIFA,
that's what you're into.
That's why you're into FIFA, this mode. EA's estimates for FIFA, this is from FIFA 2017, so I'm sure it's only gotten bigger, but 6 million people competing weekly to qualify. Now, I could not actually find how many people are allowed in. I think that changes based on certain factors. I don't think it's a set number, but it's not 6 million. It's less than that because not everybody qualifies. But obviously, with all the qualifications, dedication, and rewards that this mode both requires and offers, it is obviously where the most elite players go. It's basically gambling, like all the Ultimate Team shit.
Yeah, not just basically.
Yeah. And like they say, higher the risk, higher the reward, right?
Boy. They do say that.
And like us in capitalism say, why not find a way to conspire behind closed doors to mitigate that risk for yourself and come out on top, even if you're not the best?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like FIFA, I'm sure full of corruption and exploitation.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's the most appropriate game, really, for considering their organization.
We get into our story.
Hold on. What if there's a mode of FIFA where it's called Ultimate Mode, and you just build a giant stadium in a third world country, and you exploit all their laborers, and then you just abandon it and pay nobody? That's my favorite mode that FIFA has.
That's the World Cup mode.
Oh, was that like this? Was that a canceled Sim game, like Sim World Cup?
Yeah.
Sim drain a third world country of all their resources.
Chris is making a lot of jokes, but if you out there do not know how awful of an organization FIFA is, I urge you to look it up because they are garbage.
I fell into that
I
fell into that wiki hole one night after that movie. What was it? United Passions?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
So
look
now,
that up.
On to our story. On Sunday, October 20th, 2019, a 21-year-old Twitch streamer and FIFA community member by the name of Nick Bartels, who goes by the handle Run the Foot Market, was participating in one such league match, live on stream. This was his last game before he would be ranked in the coveted top 100. Ooh. If he won, he would be in the top 100 and his prizes would skyrocket. Now, he was up 1-0 in the 91st minute. Sound like a Brit? When he got disconnected from the game. Now, disconnects do happen. This is EA's servers we're talking about.
Because they don't spend all that money they're making on server maintenance.
Yeah. But
for more on EA outages, listen to our SimCity episode.
Felt it was kind of fishy. You see, Bartels tweeted later that night and said, this was his first disconnect in over 3 years. And he thought it was a little weird that it happened right before a game ended. Right before he reached the top 100.
Oh, man, this is to get juicy. I love it.
And then he would shock the FIFA community. You see, after this, he did a little bit of digging. Mm-hmm. He apparently went and talked to the guy he played against, who did not conspire against him. It was a Costa Rican FIFA pro. Okay. He apparently says that the guy was very nice, and it was just a random disconnect.
Oh, that's good.
However, his digging did unearth some shit. You see, he, being a big member of the FIFA community, is friends with a lot of pros in the FIFA community.
Is this when Beetlejuice and Jack Sparrow get involved?
No. Worse people. He posted some screenshots onto his Twitter, some screenshots of a Discord server. And one day later, on October 21st, would upload a YouTube video to his channel. This 29-minute YouTube video, simply titled, "This is Unacceptable," he explains the context of the screenshots he posted. You see, he says this Discord is a dodging Discord, and he cites notable members of said Discord, such as Chicago Fire pro Hectic Jukes, FIFA streamer Ryan Zhang 99, and eChampions League winner and New York City FIFA pro NYC_Chris. According to Bartels, this Discord started innocently enough. It started as a way for these North American pro players to meet up and practice against each other. You see, when you're a pro player, you can't really practice online because you get matched up against people. And, you know, if you're a good person, you don't want to steamroll idiots because you're not learning and they're having a bad time.
Yeah. There are some people out there that's all they like to do. But
that's why most of like pro shooter teams have like big rosters and they train against each other and then, you know, pick teammates to go up to like the top.
That makes complete sense.
But the more pros they added, the more the Discord changed, and what it morphed into was much worse than that.
Ugh.
Now, for those of you that don't know, because I learned this term, what a dodging Discord is, or I guess what dodging is. You see,
I have a guess, but I assume you're going to explain anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, matchmaking, for those of you that don't know, is meant to match you with players of the same skill level.
Thank you, Halo 2.
A lot of games have a hidden rating that every player is assigned called an MMR, or matchmaking rating. And depending on the game, it's calculated by a whole bunch of different factors, but basically...
Especially if you're playing with a bunch of people that all have their own scores as well, or statistics.
It's meant to match you with somebody equal to you, or in certain games as close to equal as you can possibly get. Now, these systems can be flawed, but for the most part, they tend to work.
Yeah, some games are better at it than others.
Some games are better at it than others.
But for the most part...
Yeah, like you can get into a rank hole in Overwatch where it just ranks you with horrible people, then you lose a bunch of games, so it ranks you with worse people, then you lose a bunch of games.
You're telling me this...
But I have 7 gold medals, but it doesn't mean anything because...
No, guys, I'm not switching.
Now, what these people were doing, like I said, this mode was based entirely on win-loss ratio and nothing else, non-MMR.
Yeah.
So, what these pros figured out that they could do is they got into this Discord and they decided, hey, wait a minute, if we don't enter matchmaking at the same time, we'll never get matched up against each other. And this game is based entirely on win-loss and nothing else. And we have most of the top 100 in this Discord with us. So, if we all enter matchmaking at different times and coordinate it so that we never are matchmaking at the same time, then we will never have to play each other, and then we can just pub stomp our way to the top, essentially.
That's actually a different angle than I was expecting, which takes more planning. I thought you were going to go into like the problem.
Just fix the games.
Yeah, or the problem that Street Fighter V had, where people would just DC to keep their.
So FIFA accounts for that.
Okay.
If you DC, it does not count as anything.
I do think they eventually fixed that.
They did.
Yeah, in 5. Still, the fact that not every developer accommodates for it, but that's way more elaborate.
This allows them to keep the top 100 amongst themselves, refuse those top spots to any new players as best they can. Yeah. Exactly. Now, this isn't to discredit how good these people are at FIFA. You still have to have the skill to beat whoever you get matched up against, but at least they know they're never battling another top 100 player, and all of them are in on those sweet, sweet rewards.
Maybe you'll get into it, but do you know how long that was going on? Like how?
I will get into it.
Okay. I was curious about when that Discord was started and stuff.
So where does Bartles fit into this?
Not at all,
our
apparently.
Streamer friend. Well, according to him, he's a little cocky. He is one of the top FIFA players in the country, other than some of these pros.
A cocky pro gamer?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But never heard of it.
But to him, streamers and content creators specifically were excluded from this. And part of this Discord is not just to avoid playing each other, but also, like I said, to keep other people from reaching the top 100.
Yeah.
And since he was an outsider about to make it into the top 100, they couldn't have that.
No girls allowed, dude.
And since he was a streamer, he was on Twitch. So, what do you do in that position? Stream snipe. So the screenshot,
this is getting dirtier and dirtier.
The screenshot that was sent to him specifically was a bunch of pros talking about when he was entering matchmaking specifically, and that they were all going to enter at the same time to try to fight him. Or play him in soccer or whatever. And apparently it's not just him. They do this a lot.
I'm sure. I mean, there are probably plenty of people that happened to who weren't streamers.
And apparently, like I said, this guy is pretty good. So he actually has the ability to beat some of the people in this Discord.
Yeah.
So not only did they just try to fight him, well, no, apparently he's beaten a couple of them when they did do this.
Okay.
So this screenshot specifically was them coordinating to get their best player
so they knew
up against him. They knew who he was. They were specifically going after him.
Okay.
Yes. Now, Bartles says in his video, he makes his money from his streams. He says he's a good FIFA player, but he's not the best FIFA player in the world, obviously,
but he's watched,
or even the region. Yeah. But he is apparently well known because all that stock market shit I said was very confusing. Apparently, he is very, very good at it. So that is what people watch him for. Not
he's a FIFA day trader.
Exactly, yeah. And
what a world.
And he says that for him and a lot of other content creators and a lot of the people in this Discord, the FIFA Ultimate Team rewards are really not the prize because they're already in the top 100, which means they have to have good teams. The real prize here is the win itself. You see, it's all well and good that you get a bunch of mega packs and hundreds of thousands of FIFA coins, but what's better is that you're able to post on YouTube a video of you opening said mega packs and buying more mega packs with your FIFA coins.
Yeah.
A win means new followers. With new followers comes more views. And more views means more money.
More money.
But
the world keeps on spinning.
Bartles then goes on to say that this is not a FIFA 20 problem. This is a FIFA problem. This has apparently been happening to him for 6 months, at least.
That's a while.
He's good at the game, but again, a little bit cocky. He's good at the game, but he doesn't actually need the win. And to him, the situation is more frustrating than anything. The higher he gets on the ladder, the more recognizable the names become. When he started this FIFA Ultimate streaming stuff, he said he started out playing no pro players at all. And then he noticed that he was playing some recognizable names, maybe 1 or 2 a weekend, and thought, hey, I must be getting good. Then that number jumped from 1 to 2 to 5, then to 10. In a weekend where you have to play 30 matches and 10 of them are pros conspiring against you, I imagine even if you're good at the game, that's a little frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, and it sounds like he's putting the time in.
Yes. Yeah. Not only is this obviously frustrating, he is pissed. He says he probably will stop playing FIFA Ultimate Team mode, mostly because it's not really fun anymore, which sucks.
Yeah, I can't say I blame him, yeah.
But also, he says he's making this video because this is in violation of EA's terms of service, which at one point in the video he pulls up.
I'm curious how much EA knows.
Points to a rule against, quote, colluding with other players in playing games, selectively matching up against the same opponents repeatedly.
Yup. No disagreement there.
Yeah. And he was not alone. You see, there are other FIFA streamers, and there is one specifically by the name of Mike LaBelle.
I was going to ask if he was in touch with other people. Yeah.
Who Bartle specifically names in the initial video I mentioned. Now, Mike LaBelle's fans and followers were hounding him for his comment on the situation. So on October 24th, 4 days after Bartle's video, Mike LaBelle makes his own video. He reaffirms that he is not in this Discord, and he has been stream sniped, he claims, not for 6 months, but for around 3 to 4 years.
It's a long time. Like, he's a high threshold for...
He also reaffirms what I said earlier and goes more into the detail of how the stats actually work, but says this weekend league is based only on win-loss. Only, and not on MMR. The example he gives, he says, if somehow the stream sniping works so well that I play 30 pros and only pro players from this top 100 from this Discord, and I go 26-4, and somebody else just starting out in the game gets very lucky and gets matched up against people much worse than them or around their own skill level, and they go 27-3, they get more prizes than me.
Yeah, which is stupid. In practice, it doesn't seem to be a way to get around it, but that's still kind of tough. I mean, especially if you know you're playing that sort of skill threshold, and you know
that's
somebody
essentially
else is
what these pros figured out, right? They're like, why would we play each other when we could just play stupid people and all get the prizes?
Yeah,
exactly.
On November 1st, 2019. EA responds, releasing a statement saying, quote, the integrity of our tournaments is of the utmost importance to us, and we monitor our competitions on and off the pitch to ensure fair play. We identified a player violated the EA Sports FIFA 20 Global Series Code of Conduct because they used an out-of-game Discord channel to dissuade players from competing against them. This competitor will receive an EA Sports FIFA 20 Global Series 2 qualifier suspension. Now, in this, they banned one player by the name of Kurt0411.
How did he get stuck with the...
But that was for unrelated reasons. He was harassing EA employees on Twitter.
Okay. You know I read that, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep, but they suspended only one of the players that I mentioned above, NYC Chris, for, quote, encouraging experienced players to avoid matchmaking at the same time as the player to gain a competitive advantage. He was suspended from this specific mode for 2 weeks.
Wait, 2 weeks?
Oh,
2
man.
Weeks. Basically 2 weekend leagues.
Yeah. So he could just, he could have just had something to do twice, and then that's it. And it's the same amount of punishment.
Yeah, exactly.
Guess I'll go outside, huh?
Now, EA did not mention the more than 20 players that Bartles named as part of the Discord and even showed screenshots of being a part of the Discord.
Absolutely.
But they did say this. Harassment as part of a coordinated effort to match with streamers during the weekend league unrelated to a competitive advantage was also investigated. Final warnings for those confirmed to have taken part in these activities was issued. and cover future instances of similar behavior. So basically, if they find somebody still stream sniping, then they'll get banned, but they're not going to ban anybody for it yet.
That's a way lazier solution.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It is a lazy solution is the perfect word for it, because this obviously they already wanted to build a tournament system that they wouldn't have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what they had in the first place set up, or else it might have been easy to avoid this.
Yeah. Now, many of the players involved that were called out by Bartles apologized, but Bartles even said in his video before they apologized, I know they're going to apologize. They don't mean it. They're just mad they got caught.
You could say that about a lot.
Literally anybody. Yeah. And obviously, he called out all these people. He was very mad about it, but there were articles written about him, and he's since gotten a huge boost for his own YouTube channel.
A lot of game controversies kind of play out that way. Yeah.
And with EA doing essentially nothing, this becomes sort of like a steroids in baseball situation where it's like, the Discord still exists, and I guess you got to be a part of it if you want to be in the top 100.
I miss the steroid era. Everybody was hitting crazy home runs.
Yeah, can we have like some sort of freak league in baseball that's just people that are on steroids?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty entertaining.
I think as a comedian, he was a bit about that.
Wait, really?
Let's see how far somebody can really hit a baseball.
Damn. Maybe it was Bill Burr or something.
It was.
Okay. I was like, maybe that was subconsciously in my head, but like I thought that I just came up with it.
All right.
Guess so.
So now,
that was clever.
That's the end of our story.
Hey.
As far as I know, the only thing that's really come of this, all these people are still making content. Nobody got banned. They're all still participating.
Of course.
Right.
The one guy that did get banned later tried to make a new account, and then EA banned him again, and that caused a whole nother controversy. But I'm going to end this with a personal tangent.
Please,
to me, this isn't really a story about FIFA. I wasn't interested in it because I give a shit about FIFA, as evidenced by my lack of soccer knowledge at the beginning. This is a story about the lengths people will go to win at fucking video games. You obviously have your cheaters, your hackers, your aimbotters, stuff like that, but it goes way beyond that. This is another interesting story that I originally considered, but it made me too angry to type out. When Fortnite added skill-based matchmaking into the game, stats showed that pros and streamers came out with way less kills and way less wins overall, thanks to skill-based matchmaking, and new players came out on top with way more kills and way more wins. This is simply because pros were being matched against other pros. And when you use matchmaking...
I can't beat people who are actually good.
When you use matchmaking the way that's intended to be used, you make the game competitive. And when Ninja and Shroud and all these fucking people, Tfue or whatever they, Bugaboo or whatever their names are, I don't remember.
I don't even know what you're saying right now.
When they all get mashed up against each other, only one of them can win.
Yeah,
you know?
That's how those games work.
Or I'm going to say the N-word.
Yeah. But the problem with this is getting one kill and getting 50th place in Fortnite doesn't fit Ninja's brand. It doesn't fit all these other people's brands. Yeah. And it doesn't make for good content. So streamers got upset, and Epic went with this following method.
Oh, God.
They left skill-based matchmaking in solo and duo modes, but took it out of squads. So now every streamer teamed up with each other.
I was going to say, squad's the most accessible mode to casual people that want to bring in their friends to play with them.
So streamers switched to that mode, teamed up with each other, and pub stomped their way to millions of dollars or whatever.
Fuck them.
But now that means that most people who probably just want to hop on Fortnite with their friends have to choose to either A, play duos and exclude some friends that may want to play with them, or B, have an awful time maybe getting stomped by streamers.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that like playing games competitively, but here's where my rant gets maybe a little bit holier than thou, but bear with me.
I'm completely with you so far.
Competitive video games are, at their very core, a competition shrouded in anonymity. When two people play basketball with each other or play football with each other, you got to look the guy in the eye to call him an asshole and say you fucked his mom. But you don't have to look him in the eye to say that stuff in a video game. And this does tend to bring out the absolute worst in people. Gaming community toxicity is already a problem, and it goes all the way to the highest levels of play. We've seen Overwatch pros get banned for calling people words that I will not repeat on this podcast. Add on top of that the pressure for people like streamers, like Ninja, to do well or risk losing money that they make and rely on. This problem just snowballs out of control.
Yeah.
Now, we have some friends who like to stream. I don't want to decry any streamers or content creators necessarily. I think that people absolutely should be able to follow people they like, watch them play games.
It's personality-based.
Or make their content surrounding it. It's entirely personality-based, you're right.
You want to hang out with them.
But the ease of becoming a streamer, coupled with the demand that they themselves and their audiences put on them to
be the best.
I mean, obviously the best streamers are all the best at their games.
Right.
So this pressure put on them by themselves and their communities to be the absolute best in the game and have all their content focused on how good they are at said game is not healthy. It's not healthy for the streamers.
No,
it's not healthy for the people watching. It's not healthy for the people that they're getting matched up against. I personally, I should say, this is all a rant from me, and I'm sure some people out there agree with me. But
you can throw me in there.
Yeah, this is not healthy for gaming as a whole, I don't think.
No, it's a lot of content creators that have that pressure.
That, combined with a lot of other much worse issues that the gaming community has, is how you get your so-called quote-unquote heated gamer moments, where people just yell fucking, again, words I will not repeat on this podcast. And couple that with people like Ninja going on Twitter and telling kids that watch him that if they're not getting angry when they lose, then they're not losing right.
Oh, God.
And you have an absolute recipe for disaster. Maybe this is just my old age speaking, but as I get off my
That's old age. I don't want to be young.
Yeah. As I get off my soapbox, let me just say the following. Things like rank play and the monetization of video game skill is leading us down a very dangerous path that could very well drive new players away from the hobby, or worse, send new players in with the absolute wrong attitude.
Well said, man. Yeah.
And thus ends my rant and my part of this podcast.
He's walking away. We didn't even do the plugs.
Well said.
I'm back.
You think all that pressure is why PewDiePie became a Nazi?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, he did yell the N-word when he got shot in PUBG.
Heated gamer moment.
Well, he's playing by ninja rules.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, thank you for listening. No, just
yeah. But yeah,
no, I originally that's a fascinating story.
Forgive my rant. Originally, I read this story and I started typing out my script, and I was like, "This is a really interesting story of like people abusing their positions of power." And then, of course,
that tangent is very applicable.
In the position we're in society, I started getting angry about people abusing positions of power, and then I started getting angry about not being able to play video games with my friends anymore because they're too competitive. And then I wrote that long rant. So
choose your dark path. Woo!
But yeah.
All right.
Thus ends going out on the happiest story of the three.
We got to stop putting you last. I don't know why we keep doing that.
We got to shift it around a little bit.
You said it's tradition, dude.
I did. Yeah.
Don't worry. I already know, and I already started typing my story for Microtransactions 4.
How happy
when
is
that
it?
comes around. It is not the happiest, but it is fucking hilarious. It is not going to make any. It might make some people angry, but in a funny way.
Will it make me laugh?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, then I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Yeah.
We did it.
Let's do some plugs and get the hell out of here. Make like a tree and get the fuck out of here. Was that the quote from Back to the Future?
No, he says make like a tree and leave. Or no, that's the real one, right?
Yeah.
He fucks up the screen door in a battleship or submarine metaphor as well.
Make like a tree and split.
Yeah. We recently rewatched Back to the Future on our Discord movie nights.
Did you guys watch Alien vs. Predator the other night?
No, we watched the original Predator.
I could have swore I saw Austin's live thumbnail. It looked like it was Alien.
That was me streaming Transformers the last night. The fifth Transformers movie.
We didn't watch that one. Yeah, we somehow have a friend of ours who has not seen any of the Back to the Future movies, so we rightfully fixed that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Fucking great.
They are. Although
there's some problematic stuff in there that's not aged fully well.
It's definitely a downward climb.
Yeah.
You know what?
But yeah. Also, I highly recommend anybody check out Transformers the Last Night.
Stop it,
dude! Fuck off! You're on. Don't recommend the Last Night.
This rant to end on much funnier terms than my story. This rant has to be recorded for posterity. Michael Bay, the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, movie quality aside. That movie, so Michael Bay recorded the whole thing in IMAX 3D.
Oh, okay, I know what you're going to get on now, yeah.
And if you've ever seen a Blu-ray of an IMAX 3D movie. Like Transformers 2 did this, and so did The Dark Knight. Okay. Basically, movies have aspect ratios, right? And so that's why when you're watching it on a TV, you'll get those black bars at the bottom. Because a cinematic view is not 16:9. It is a lot smaller.
Correct, yes.
It makes things look more cinematic, so a lot of times movies, when you watch them, will have black bars at the top and the bottom. Oh,
so when 3D things, they'll like break into the bars a little bit for depth, or?
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
All right.
When you use an IMAX camera, IMAX cameras are 16:9 because they want to use the most of that giant fucking screen they have. So when you're watching movies like The Dark Knight on Blu-ray or something, the beginning scene where the Joker does the bank heist, the movie starts out with that movie with black bars on the top and bottom, and then it expands to the full screen, and then when it's over, it goes back like this. Okay. And it's a pretty cool effect.
Yeah.
And Transformers 2 does something similar. Michael Bay must have used like 8 different cameras for this movie.
We should specify that this is the 5th Transformers film.
This is the 5th Transformers movie. Yeah. It's about Merlin versus the Nazis. So what? Mark Wahlberg will be talking to Dora the Explorer, and it'll be cutting back and forth like over the shoulder shots for like dialogue, right?
Yeah.
And it'll just be like one shot will have no black bars at all. And then the next shot will have a very small aspect ratio. And then the next shot will have no black bars at all. And then the next shot will be somewhere in the middle.
What the fuck? Edited in the same scene?
Yes, but not like I said with The Dark Knight where it goes woo and like expands smoothly. It just cuts. And there's just black bars going like this.
Oh my God.
Up and down the whole time. And
That's insane.
The reason I was streaming my screen on Discord was because people. I had to show somebody else this because I felt like I was going insane.
Now I'm a little upset that I missed it.
It is fucking stupid.
What does that look like on cable? Like
it looks the same because it's on a TV.
I would like to point out something funny that people would have. Obviously for the whole 90s, television was square. We see that nowadays when we try to watch like old Futuramas or something,
Or play old video games for sure.
But like, what happened? Like, why were they like... Because movie screen theaters existed way before TVs, so why were they like, all right, let's make them square? Like, why wasn't the first TV just a rectangle?
I think it had something to do with technology.
Probably.
Because originally TVs were developed to watch television and you couldn't watch movies at home.
Yeah, that is true. There was a huge divide between those two industries.
And then when people started watching movies at home and they were like, wait a minute, we can make TVs rectangles so that the movies make more sense.
There was a time where they thought that the home viewing experience of a movie would destroy theaters.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you did have to crop it.
And then
especially when you had formats like
The Irishman.
But especially when you had formats like VHS and stuff coming out. But
anyway.
No, that's funny.
That's good.
Yeah. King Arthur's Court, led by Mark Wahlberg, versus the Nazis, led by Megatron.
You don't need to tell me. I think I could get everything you're saying by watching it on mute if I really wanted to.
Hannibal Lecter is there.
How did they get him?
What are you talking about?
Anthony Hopkins.
I feel like I'm in a fucking fever dream.
You feel like you're playing Limbo of the Lost right now.
Anthony Hopkins is in the movie. And at one point...
All right, check us out on hotbutton.com.
At one point...
/ the last
all of our links.
At one point, Megatron...
We're on Spotify, iTunes.
They make a deal with Megatron.
Leave a review.
I think something happened with Austin's brain.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Hot Button
They're like, Megatron, we need your help. And he's like, okay,
else,
but I need
spread
my
the
team.
word.
And then they do like a Suicide Squad style montage
for more episodes, including our other 2 microtransactions, please.
See, this is how I get you guys to do the plugs. I just start talking about Transformers.
God damn it, this was his plan all along.
All right, let's do actual plugs and get the fuck out of here, because now I'm mad about 2 things.
I can't wait for Jason to mix this.
No, we're real sorry, dude.
It's just cacophony.
I don't know, that's pretty good. We should just go out on that. I think it would be alright if we missed some plugs perfect plugs for a week.
Yeah, the fade out would make that even funnier.
Thanks to you guys, for all of us, including myself.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
For hosting these episodes. Thanks to you guys, the listeners, for listening.
You're welcome.
And thanks to future producer Jason for editing this and mixing it and helping out an immense amount. For all of your hot button needs, check out hotbuttoncast.com. All our episodes are on there, and there's links to all our socials and all that shit. And yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Thanks for listening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good night.